In this lesson, what we're going to do is we're going to learn what a Photoshop histogram is. We're going to learn about balancing the light and dark tones of an image correction. We're going to use adjustment layers, and we're going to apply partial adjustment using a quick mask. So the first thing we want to do is you need to get the files in order to do this lesson. So have a look back into the advanced selection and masks assignment. Looks like this one. All right, and click on this link here, and when you do, you're going to come to my Google Doc, and what you want to do is you want to go file, download original, put it in your Z drive, unzip it, and then you'll have the files you need. Now if you're watching from the internet and you're not in my class, what you can do is you can type in this URL, goo.gl/czm in capital letters and then vs in small letters, and when you do that, you'll see that you come to the same page. Okay. Now when you have the folder open, you'll see a zip file, right click and then extract all, and then you'll come into here. And what you want to do from here is you want to open this legislature dark.jpg picture in Photoshop, and it's going to look something like this. So let's get right down to it. The first thing we do anytime we start editing an image is we need to identify what we're using this image for. So in this case here, we're going to print this image on a semi-gloss piece of paper, roughly about letter size. So once we identify the purpose for print, letter size paper, semi-gloss, we can decide on a set of dimensions. So I'm going to go image size, and I can see here that it's already 180 pixels, width and height not quite right. So letter size paper is 11 inches wide and 8.5 inches deep. So I'm going to uncheck the screen proportions and go 11 by 8.5. It's going to stretch it slightly, but it shouldn't really make much of a difference. Okay. So again, we start by identifying the purpose, what it's used for. It's going to be printed on a letter size piece of paper, landscape shape, semi-gloss paper, and therefore using that information we can decide on dimensions and most importantly the resolution. Alright, so what we want to do with this image here is we want to correct it. So it's very light on this side, is very dark here. You can see that in the image, but over here where you see the histogram, you can see here that the histogram has a large spike here and has dark areas here. So what is this histogram? How does it work? Well, it's simple to illustrate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my elliptical marquee tool and I'm going to select this area here, and when I do, watch what happens to the histogram on your upper right hand corner. Okay, so we see here that the graph is spiked very high, so anything to the right of the histogram indicates the light tones, and we can see that there's a lot of lightness here. Now if I drag this over here, okay, what do you expect the histogram to look like here? Well, it's going to be kind of in the middle, kind of darker tones, and as I drag it over here toward the trees, you can kind of guess what that's going to do. Well, that's going to make the histogram spike onto the left, right? So it does exactly what I wanted to do. Now, and the grass is going to be somewhere in the middle. All right, we'll select, deselect. So looking at this histogram, what's good about it is that it stretches from one side to the other. So in this one image, I have deep dark tones, and also I have light, nice light tones. But the problem with this image, although it's a great image, what I want to do is I want to correct it so that I want to make the dark darker and the light, or sorry, the dark lighter and the light a little bit darker. That's going to bring out the definition of the clouds, and it's going to bring a little more definition into this area and balance it out. So the way to do that is I can go image size, oops, sorry, cancel. I can go image, adjustments, levels, and what I can do is I can move this one in, okay, and make it nice and light, okay, and I can move this one in and make the clouds darker. But it's almost ridiculous. It's not going to work because by moving this lighter, okay, it makes the clouds look like they're glowing, And by moving this darker, trying to darken the clouds, I'm actually not darkening the clouds at all, but I'm darkening everything else. So that's simply not going to work. Alright. What else I can do is I could try to make a selection, right? So I could try to select the clouds, alright, and I could try to make that a little bit lighter, alright, and make that a little bit darker. Okay, that's going to work, except when you deselect it, you can see it looks ridiculous. Alright, so those methods are not going to work. So there is a way to do this. There is a way to do this using quick mask. So using quick mask, I could lighten this, I could darken this, sorry, I could lighten this area, and I can darken this one at the same time. So watch this. So I'm going to make sure I'm going to enter quick mask mode. Okay, I'm going to make sure my foreground is black and my background is white by clicking this icon here. I'm going to use my gradient tool, and I'm going to use this gradient tool. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start by lightening the dark area. So I'm going to start from here. I'm going to drag across that way, just like that. Okay, maybe a little more this way. That looks pretty good. Okay, I'm going to exit my quick mask mode. All right, and you can see what it did here. So what I want to do is it's selected. When I hit delete, you can see that it deleted this area here, but I want the opposite. So I'm going to go select inverse. Right. This is the area that I want to darken. So with this area selected, and you notice I want to hit delete, this area is selected the most, and as I move out this way, it gets selected less and less and less. Okay, so it's like the selection fades out automatically. So I'm going to use that and I'm going to apply the effect to that partial selection. So I'm going to go images, levels, and watch this. I'm going to make this one a little bit lighter. Okay, so I'll do it again slowly. Alright, there. So just look in this area here, and look how the flower beds start to blend from this area to this one here. And that's exactly the effect I want. Okay, right about there, I think. Click OK. You go select, deselect. Now, what I want to do is I want to lighten, I want to darken the clouds. I want to bring in a little more definition, just a hair. Okay, so I'm going to take that effect, enter my quick mask mode, make sure I'm black foreground, white background, gradient tool, and this gradient, and I'm going to do the same thing. Maybe a little bit here. That looks about right. Okay, and I'm going to exit quick mask mode. I'm going to invert the selection. Okay, and then I'm going to go image, adjustments, levels, and I'm going to darken the clouds just a hair. See, if I exaggerate it, that's what it's going to look like. But I just want to darken it just a little bit. Okay, just like that. Okay, select, deselect. And what I did is I basically balanced the image. All right. So if you look at this, if you go image, image size. Sorry, I'm gonna go window history. Okay. If you look at the original, make a snapshot. Okay. So here's the original. All right. And here's the actually. Let me make a snapshot of after I image size. Okay. Make a selection here. Okay. So this is before. Okay. Look at this area here and look up here. This is after. Okay. So before and after. So I lightened this area here. I blended it in very nicely. I darkened the cloud slightly, and again I blended in very, very gradually. All right. So before and after. Okay. So this is using quick mask to apply a partial correction. So what I want you guys to do now is I want you guys to do this for yourself. Repeat what I did, all the steps, and I want you to save the file and email it to me. My email is in the assignment. Make sure you use that email and include your relevant information in the email, including your name, block, and assignment. The assignment, just call it Legislature Dark.